To order certified reform, consent agenda approving minutes.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's going to be a boring meeting today. Maybe see that in the back. Richard, you have something? So we don't have anything on the agenda. I'm just seeing. You have something, man?
Oh, I just wanted to sit in.
Oh, okay.
You're going to be in the most boring meeting we've been for a long time.
Yeah, we got nothing on the agenda. That's why I want somebody to step up. I was hoping somebody.
You can bring something in. You can bring something in. You can talk about something.
If you got something you want to talk about, feel free.
Tony Chrisman, back when he was presiding commissioner, used to tell Gary Canance to get on the radio and stir up some hate and discontent during boring meetings.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
Charlie, your boots untied? Yeah. On my
Did she
left
tell
leg.
you, did you talk to Sue about the ARPA? That meeting we went to in St. James? Everything's pretty much a hard no.
They didn't report
All right.
us. They didn't report that.
Well, everything we had on our list was shot down except the 911 deal. And that one there was
message he said.
probably gonna be
Said
okay.
report the sheriff's department. One thing
Other
to
than
pick up
that,
in rereading, maybe
everything else was in there. His words were no or hard no.
Yeah.
Hard no meant it was definitely, it probably would never happen. A no could change. Risky was probably, he said, is good. He goes, I don't see a problem with it, but I didn't know Missouri had a law that you couldn't pay, if you wanted to pay back employees back for comp time or whatever back when, you can't do that. There's a law against that. State statute said you cannot do that. I was like, really? He goes, I'll tell you the story. Missouri hired a company out of Illinois or Ohio to do research with employees, state employees. And they come in, well, you ought to pay them back pay for this, 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 and this. But the company didn't know Missouri had a law in the books you couldn't do that. They paid them a lot of money to we learned a lot.
Oh, thanks.
I learned, it reminded me of being a kid again around my mom and dad. No.
They haven't fully analyzed the last round of comments yet.
No.
And haven't written the final rule
The
yet.
final rule's not been written. They expect it out in 2 months.
Yeah, after the comments.
But every time he gets something, if he doesn't feel great about it, he'll call DC and talk to the treasury and get his answers there. So this guy does his job. So. Nothing like the CARES Act. The CARES Act come through the state, which changed a lot of the rules and the way you could do things. This money comes straight from the feds to us. We have to abide by all their rules. So we'll see.
We should have committed it back when they first told us you could do anything you wanted to with it.
You didn't have it yet.
I know it, but we should have committed it.
Well, we couldn't. You gotta have the money before you can do that.
Yeah.
You talking about the ARPA funds, Jim?
Yeah. The first piece of paper we got, it said could be used for anything.
Yeah, anything you want to.
Anything. But I told him, I said, I guarantee it's gonna change. It always does. It was 2 weeks later, it come out real muddy and then it started to clear up. But what he said is definitely would be replacing old water lines or sewer lines. He goes, the internet's iffy because he explained that a lot of these companies that are doing it now, if they receive any federal funds for it, they're out. It's out. Well, all of them have. And the money they received, he said, they haven't spent yet because they still don't have the rules on how they can do the internet event.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But just listen to the lawyer and go from there. Basically what we're doing. This one's a lot more tricky.
Has the county received funds already?
Half of it.
You have, I'm sorry.
Half of it. You only get half this year and half next year, half next year. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Heenan, that was you asked a question?
Yes.
Apologies. Your voice sounds almost identical to Dan Whittle.
Oh, please don't compare me to him.
Well, would you rather me take your quote and attribute it to him? That's why I checked.
I got something for you, Gene.
Yeah.
The next Tourism Bureau Board meeting is October 28th. I think it starts at 4 o'clock, but that's their annual marketing plan meeting.
Yeah.
So just like to give you
I
guys a
know
heads up
if
on
you
that.
have anything, well, it's over now, we're past the first, but if there was something you wanted to try to get funds from them for a local event, it had to be turned in by the first.
So I'm just curious, now that you was talking about ARPA funds, are the local cities in the county gonna be able to request money from the county?
They should get their own.
They
this
got their
round.
own set, they got their own set of money, but
Yeah, the cities do. They all got an allotment.
I think we can still give them money, yes. But they got their own set of own set. I mean, was it Crocker got 300,000 or Dixon? Dixon got
Not Crocker.
260. Dixon got about 261 if I remember right.
Something like that.
260 something Dixon got. Crocker got a little more. I thought they got close to 310, 325. And Richland was small again. St. Robert got 1.1, and they got 900,000, I believe, over here, if I remember my
Lakeway.
numbers right. Huh?
Oh, Wayne.
Oh, Waynesville.
Crocker got 191,370. Dixon got 267,072. Richland got 330,616.
I had
St.
Richland.
Robert got 1.15577, and Waynesville got
I had all
975,270.
my numbers right, I just had them two switched.
Dave, can you email that document to me that includes the schools?
I don't think it includes the schools.
Well, you used, didn't I hear you say Lakeway?
No.
Okay, so he asked Lakeway.
Right.
Okay.
Crocker, Dixon, Richland, St. Robert, and Waynesville. And then
These are
Pulaski County gets
municipalities.
10
Lakeway's not eligible
10,218,000.
because they don't have a municipality.
Right, that, he had asked Lakeway, I thought he answered Lakeway, so I thought he was responding to
No.
schools.
No, the numbers I had in my head, I just had Richland and Crocker switched.
Crocker got the least and Richland got the most.
Yeah. I thought they were bigger than Dixon.
It's based on population though, isn't
Yep,
it?
based on population.
Yeah, and if I read the census right, we lost like 300 people since the last census in Crocker.
It's Daniel Whittle running them all off.
Taxes are too high.
Get that there.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did, Commissioner.
That's fine.
Mr. Whittle, how many rental units have you demolished now or sold?
No comment.
Yeah. He'll invoke his Fifth Amendment right.
Okay, Mr. Whittle, how many of your tenants are in jail then?
Well, it's like that money, see, the city's monies come from the state, so they could be under a little different ruling than we are. The counties come from the feds, and the state divvied up the money to the city, so.
It seems like the state's sitting on the money for the cities too.
They ain't dumped it out yet?
No.
Really?
Nope.
Oh, wow. Wow.
They're waiting on rules too.
Oh, wow. The state's.
So the county actually has
You know
not
what the
yet
state's
received.
doing then?
Maybe they're
I
drawing
better not
interest.
say this, it'll be all over.
I'll
the
say it,
internet.
they're drawing interest.
Exactly what I was getting ready to say. The state's drawing
At the
big time interest on this money. 'cause
At the
it's a
expense
lot.
of these communities that really need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cutting out the dollar, you're right, it is. The state's actually hurting these communities by holding that money. The state's collecting the interest off of it. A little bit of interest they could get off the money they get would help.
That's what the federal government's been doing now for 80+ years with the federal income tax, so hopefully they have
I didn't know the cities ain't got their money yet. It's all in network. Why?
Is Roger coming this morning? Has anybody heard from him?
No, I haven't heard from him. He could have had a call this morning, who knows?
I seen him this morning. He might have got called out. Something we could look at on there, I thought about that this weekend too, is on their corner deal, since we don't have a real set thing on what we want to put down there, is if you put a design build in place, then you can kind of change as you go. You know, if you run into problems when we demolish it and we don't know where everything's going, then we don't have to go back and change everything with the architect and the engineer and all that, and wait and get approvals and all that stuff.
Well, we can still do that.
Yeah. But if it's like my bridge, and we're
Don't
using
even bring that
funds,
bridge up.
then we gotta wait for approvals here and there and everywhere else.
That bridge has been a pain in my side since 13.
We have a inspection this
I've had
afternoon with
FEMA tell me it's covered, then it wasn't covered, and then this, that. And finally, MRPC jumped in and said, hey, we got a program, we think we can get that done for you.
Rich, you've done some of them design builds on Fort Leonard Wood.
We've done a lot of them, yeah. They're,
Do you prefer them, or, I mean, in certain cases?
honestly, it depends on the government agency that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
I hate to say it that way, but for the most part, I think design build is the way to go, because then it puts the earnest back on the contractor, you know?
I did one job out there many years ago. And the Corps come in and seen what I was doing, and they said, oh, you can put 4-inch to that? And I said, I can run 4-inch everywhere. What do you want? I go, my first question is, what's the 2-inch drains out here? He goes, oh, we're gonna wash down them big trucks. And they come in there, and I go, mud? He goes, yeah. And I go, then you need you need mud separators out there that we can put in. You gotta keep them clean, but we can run 4-inch off of that. Well, that's what we want. Then I had to take everything back, bring in everything, and then he goes, I got boxes of pipe and fittings, I'll just give them to you. The Corps guy said, see, it brings me all these fittings from a job site, I don't know where they come from. But he just about had enough to do the whole job, and I put it all in. But that job changed probably 4 or 5 times the whole time I was doing it. I was frustrated. That was just a rough-in.
Change order after change order.
Oh, I was frustrated. You know, you put it in, you got it right, and you're moving on, then they come back and want you to change that, so you gotta cut everything back out to a certain point and start over again. It's frustrating.
The problem with that is a lot of people can't truly read prints. They don't know what they're looking at until it's in
And
place.
what bothered me the most when I was done was, they come and look at it, and the guy looks at it, and he goes, looks good to me. I go, you gonna measure anything to make sure, I'm not off? Because once you pour that concrete, it ain't moving. So he called the colonel, and the colonel goes, well, look good? He goes, yeah. He goes, sign off on it, it's good. I was like, that's why I never went back out there. The contractor never called me back out there to move anything, but I've sat out there and I'm running off of the lines, measuring everything to make sure I'm exact, because when you're setting a toilet on concrete, and you got a wall there, I've seen them 6 inches off the wall before they had to bust everything out and change it. So I made sure what I did, I had lines strung all over that thing. The guy goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm being exact. I said, the wall's gonna go here, so I gave the inches off the center of the wall, include the sheetrock or whatever. That's where I'm at. I said, why don't you measure 2 or 3 things to make sure? He didn't even know how to read the plans. That was the problem. The Corps guy could not read plans.
You need to be probably a foot off the wall, don't you?
12 inches finished, yeah.
Finished wall.
Finished wall. I've seen one local site up here that went on bid that I walked in and looked, and I'm like, that ain't gonna work. They go, what do you mean? And I go, hang on, I went and got my measure tape. 5.5 inches off the finished wall.
Oh my.
I go, that ain't gonna work. You're gonna be busting concrete or moving a wall. We can't move the wall because of this. And I'm like, only thing I can tell you is
That's concrete.
you're busting concrete. And yeah, it ain't gonna be fun. Now, who knows what happens down the road, because a lot of times you're gonna have to put a fern core or something like that in underneath there, and then you could have some shifting and you're gonna have a problem.
Well, at AJ's in the restroom in there, they did a remodel and they added tile out. and instead of taking the urinals off, just grouted the tile in around the flush valves and the urinals
kidding.
and everything. No, it's like you had this much room to
remember
make
the
sure you
old
tried to
urinals
pull
that went in the
the
floor?
flush valve out and
The ones that
pull
went
it
down
down
the floor.
because
Well, there are a lot of
they
them
left
for
everything
everything. I
there.
know, I remember
They just put
hospitals
everything
got
on
a
top
bunch
of
of
it and cut out around it.
I seen some of them last weekend. The guy wanted to change them. I looked at him like, I'm out. I'm out. I mean, you ain't getting rid of that urinal except with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
You ain't just taking a urinal out like that. Not one of the ones that come down and went on the floor.
The old tile.
The
Yeah.
old style.
Just built into the floor.
Yes. You know, the hospital has a whole bunch of them.
Not so much anymore.
They don't.
Most of them's been demoed out.
I was in there here a few months ago and I seen one in there and I was like, wow.
Well, with two
Somebody's
young
gonna
boys
have
at my
fun.
house, my wife would probably like to install one.
Where she could hose the floor down
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Hose the floor down too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was water, sewer, and it's only replacement, not new. As far as if you was running to a new subdivision, you can't use that. But if you had old lines that was in the ground, you wanted to upgrade them to new, it would take care of that. The reason that's in there because of Flint, Michigan. Replacing all the water lines from all the lead. But if you wanted to put a new water tower up or new water line in, that's not, they don't cover that.
Yeah.
Wall, floor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
For years. And they
that was an
were-
interesting meeting. I'm an attorney, I'll say that.
And it won't cover any of your shortcomings either, will it?
Well, now, you want to explain how the loss of revenue? Yes. Loss of revenue it will, but there's a formula there.
There's a formula. What are you talking about? Just getting money because of loss of revenue?
Uh-huh.
There's an actual formula that you have to put in, and it's not just loss of revenue in county revenue, it's across everything. And there's an actual formula that you have to put in, and when you do the worksheet, did you do that worksheet for the loss of revenue?
It
Yeah.
wouldn't work for us. I didn't
MRPC
think so.
came up with one, and
Yes,
it's
MRPC
pretty,
has one.
pretty detailed.
Get a hold of
And
MRPC, they
we
got it.
we just didn't.
Are you-
And
you're
most
part of
counties
MRPC,
have
aren't you?
not.
Used to be. Glenn always went.
Yeah, Glenn does.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Charlie.
he can get all that sent to you.
I was going
Because
down
that's who we
Buckeye
met with
Road.
Wednesday,
I was going
MRPC,
down
over the
Buckeye
ARPA.
Road the other
Mhm.
day.
There were some cities there,
Rough as a
counties
cop.
there,
Rough as a cop.
and the
That's where
attorney
my
was
truck
there
went.
answering questions for us.
Buckeye.
So it was a lot of help.
No, don't.
But as far
ride
as
down.
us, see,
Before I
Road
got
Bridge
to
was
the end of
down
the
a
road, here
little
comes the
bit.
road bridge.
You go across every-
But you gotta go across
I
the
rode it
board.
down
We
before
were
I
up
got to
over
the
here
road,
at
here
General
comes the road
Revenue, so
bridge.
we lose out. I thought it was just them, but you have to add General Revenue with the road and bridge, which makes
I
them
just thought I'd
not a
tell
loss of
you that was
revenue.
kind of funny.
Even though you can't use the money over there,
Yeah.
they lose because this side was up. Yeah, it's everywhere you try to figure out where you might get something or use it for, they're telling you, no, hard no.
And I think the biggest thing is just because the interim or the final rule hasn't come out.
Right.
And so that can change, and
He said just
what you
said
do
2 more
today,
months,
6
it'll
months
come
from
out.
now,
He figures 2 months it's coming out.
because the money can be used through, the money has to be
2026.
appropriated 2025, it has to be paid out by 2026. So
Correct.
this money isn't gonna be like the CARES Act money, which was we received it in 2020 and it had to be used initially by,
December.
December 31st, then it was moved to June, then it was, so this already, the parameters of it is 5 years.
Yeah, it's a
4 to 5
5
years.
4 to 5 years.
So you
Maybe
do
they
something
keep
now
changing it.
and something comes up in 2 years and your
That's right.
money's gone.
In 2025,
You know,
they'll finally
so-
say use it for roads, there won't be nothing left.
That's why I think all
That'd
of
be
these
my luck.
agencies are just sitting either on the money or
Yeah, it would
everybody
be.
is waiting until this
Then
final
they're
rule
gonna say, oh,
comes
it's hard to
out
get rid of this place, let's let them
to
use it for
explain
another
it,
spot.
because they don't want to be liable for telling you something that,
And rightfully so.
you know, so.
Yeah,
But they approve and they pass bills for all of this money, and then, you know, the general public, people in government think we're getting it.
See, I was wondering if you was
But-
in a city and your water lines run down the street of the city, you tore up the whole street, put the new water sewer line in, you would have to be able to re-asphalt that because you had to
As
tear
part of the
everything
job.
out. You would be able to, I believe, re-asphalt it. You could fix your streets, just go
That's
down
my
through-
understanding.
Find your worst streets that's got water sewer down and replace them and then
Yeah.
asphalt.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
That's what I was thinking at the house the other night. I was sitting there brainstorming things. I'm like, well, if the water sewer went down the street and you was able to do that project, then it would take care of the street because you had to tear it up.
Yeah.
well, you've been down Exit Street how many times to
Oh,
fix
yeah.
stuff? See you, Brandon?
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's the worst sewer line.
it's,
The whole
it's
valley's the
run-
other one.
It's running all the stuff from the summit down and can't keep up now. And they're gonna open up, Brown's gonna open up another 150 lots up there, and Cox is gonna open up another 100 lots up there.
It's still clay
What are
in
they-
some places
What are
down
they
there.
gonna, yeah, what are they gonna do with that?
I'm telling them people on Elliott Street on the right side and the left side that have more sewer problems.
Yeah, we've dug up all kinds of stuff down there.
I've been doing it for 20 years down there. And then you try to rotor-root one and it runs at an angle and it may be 150, 200 feet down before it makes the connection.
That lady,
They all angle down the street.
that lady that called us, yeah, and that's the other thing, they all run at an angle.
They
down
all
the
run at
street.
a 45 off the house and go way down and tap in.
I asked her how bad it was, and she's like, well, you know, we got some raw sewage in the basement. It's like, okay, we get there, there's 6 foot of it.
Oh, my.
Is that the one you guys kept pumping and couldn't get rid
Yeah.
of? But the city said it was open.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't open.
Yeah, and the city came, they backed it all, but yeah.
I know exactly
City
where you was
back in the
at,
house.
probably the house you was at.
They can claim it.
See, it comes down on the third or fourth house to the right, it comes off the hill right there and comes right between the house. They go, oh, it's got a new line out there.
Preventer would.
To the clay line that's in the
Just
street.
stop
They
you
didn't
up,
replace the
you back up.
clay line in the street.
Yeah.
So it's all,
Backed up.
yeah.
We got Orangeburg over trucker.
Orangeburg, high. I just hit Orangeburg and Richland the other day. Told them dig it up. I believe it's Orangeburg. I may be wrong. Did you guys dig that up?
Where was it?
I think
The
it's that
one
city
that's
life.
up there,
Just 50 or 60.
over by the lodge.
Maybe closer to.
No, not
70
yet.
degrees by now.
That one there, I know it's plastic, it's the old crush on part of it.
Yeah.
Part of it's Schedule 40, but I think the old that goes out feels like it's either Crush or Orangeburg.
On the golf course road?
No, it's over in the middle of town, over by the church. It's either Crush or Orangeburg. Because I can't get through it by machine, and I pull that up.
Crash pipe.
Put a ton of roots. You're not
Morning,
working
Mr.
on
Augustine.
Got anything for us this morning?
Yeah, I was gonna talk about the corner project,
Yeah,
possibility of doing that design build.
mentioned it a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Tell us some of the benefits of that guy.
Well, then we would totally manage the design and the construction. We'd be able, that's kind of where I came out of, I've had 10 years before moving down here and design build. And basically it'll give you more seamless, one point of accountability, where Dave, you're not fighting with the designer and the contractor all the time. You got one point of contact. And typically that can speed up things and also help hit your budget.
And you'll still have an architect and an engineer.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you just,
yeah, and then you'll have progress sets along the way, kind of like the initial, kind of outline, then probably a final set of drawings, and then at the same time, then you don't have to put it all out to bid. We can start going once you approve the design.
and if we go with Inform, it's because they were the only ones that showed up with a cent. And we can tell them we want a design build, they can design it to be that way, and then they can leave some stuff vaguely too, where it doesn't have to, you're not trying to figure everything out before you get everything tore out too.
Exactly.
Be a lot of unforeseen conditions. in a
Yes, there
project
will
like
be.
that.
Oh, I've seen projects like that.
Yep.
Bid one. You find something in the wall or in the concrete. like-
Well, anytime a remodel takes place is, Daniel, you've never had any bad experiences with that, have you?
No,
Yeah. Charlie, I'd say you had some horror stories
Didn't
too.
you do Crocker City Hall, didn't you?
Yes.
I was back in the bathroom looking at that, and I said, buddy, I'd tell you what I'd do. I'd
Is it
hang it out there and go out
Yeah.
that way.
I
I
think
wouldn't be
it'd
going
be,
back that way.
it'll be great.
Did you see what we ended up doing?
That was built
So
in
how'd
the
you end up
40s.
finishing that?
We
He
built
was in a 4-foot
Built in the
hole.
40s, that
We got
jail, that
down
old
6
jail.
foot, we still couldn't find that
We
line.
ran into.
So we went back to the other
We did
existing
the
restaurant,
design build
went through
on
that
that
rock
ridge
wall.
back.
That's what I
pulled
told him
that
I would
spool
do.
and tied into it.
But
That's what I told him I'd
Right
do.
here.
it helps you getting from
Save a
getting
ton of
nailed with
money
all
and ton of
kinds of
time.
change orders too.
And just
Because,
eliminate the
we
line
get a
and
problem,
then go
y'all
from there.
just
You gotta
set
run
out.
new with the
Yeah.
street
What we gotta
anyway.
do.
Yeah,
So
Make it
just
work.
cut the line and be done with it and leave it there.
yeah. And it's
Yeah,
not saying that
They
you
had stuck a
can't,
camera in there and
change
said that
anything,
line
but-
went through
but-
there, but if it did, it
you
was
don't get
another
hit as hard
several
on your
feet in
change
the
order
ground.
for money wise. You know?
I couldn't see it being that
You just
deep
fix it now.
Yep,
because,
yeah.
That's what we did.
He
We had a
was-
problem, we just fixed it.
yeah, he was up to here.
Mhm.
When I walked back there and looked.
When we got to 6 foot, I said, stop.
Because the existing stool was right there. I'm like, I'd just put the existing stool here, go through that block wall and go out and run new. Cheaper. Save a lot of time, money, and you ain't got a problem with it. You're not using any of the old.
Yep.
I said, man, you're wasting your time down there. I'd get out of there and I'd just be faster to drill that wall right there and just to keep digging down there looking. You're fishing.
Well, they had some problems there that we was trying to rectify while we was doing that.
I remember walking in the beginning, go, what can we do here? And I said, I'll tell you what I'd do. People come to court, you gotta walk through all these offices. They could grab anything off of the table they want to go into court. I'd make a wall down the left side. Put the girls over there and make that a meeting room. Everything's in the back. Simple. I just couldn't believe everybody walks to court through the middle of the city hall. Right past the girl's desk. They could be a staple remover or scissors, or they could pick up anything they wanted walking through there. They go, well, we put everything up. I said, why should you have, why do you have to, my question? You shouldn't have to do that.
And if you accidentally leave something there, there it is.
Exactly. You know, we're not perfect people. I mean, nobody's perfect. And the girl's gonna leave something out, and one of these that's going to court that might not be right could pick it up and use it.
Why take that chance?
Yeah.
When I first started working at the school, Laura Henley was our director there. And that was the first year they'd moved into the new building, you know. Well, somebody from I-44 just pulled in there, walked in the side door, her office is right there, walked into her office, took her purse. 2-3 hours later, she got a phone call, asked if she was getting gas and shopping in St. Louis. She said no. And so, well, where's your cards at? And she went, and nobody, purse is gone. They looked on camera, and that person just walked right in the side door, walked right up to the office, and I mean, past 2 offices to get to hers. So he had to see the purse from the outside window.
Sure.
Grabbed the purse and left.
Are they pretty close on finishing it, or did they finish it already?
We're really close.
I know the police department looked great. I walked through it.
St. Robert Glass is coming in tomorrow to put the new storefront in. They're pouring the handicap concrete in today for that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I know the police department looked good. I walked through it. Looked really good.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think the design build would be the way to go on the corners, because I'm afraid we're gonna run into some unforeseen stuff, and that way we kinda know
I know
where our
all the
money
water- all the
sits at
water's
least.
above, but there's a lot of sewer in there.
Well, and even with our
Mm-hmm.
RFI meeting, you know, they've already got questions on where we're gonna ventilate stuff and,
Well, that's on the flat side though.
yeah.
There should be all kinds of room to ventilate off that side.
When I did the original 911 center over here that was built on the side of the courthouse back in '94, and we did it design build. And it really made everything pretty seamless because when we hit a problem, we just sat down, worked out what we was gonna have to do and did it. Moved right on. And didn't have to work out an elaborate change order with engineers and everything.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, especially if you got a contract that'll give and take, you know, they
Right,
can work something out here and then in the long run, get a favor back on something else.
Right.
You have to throw in there too.
right,
We've done a lot of it on base.
yeah.
Because on that deal, we hit several of those snags, you know, how we was gonna do stuff, and we just worked it out.
There's always something.
And just kept right on moving with the project that way.
Yeah.
And actually got it done ahead of time.
And that saves you a little bit too, them contractors that really like them change orders all the time. They won't show up to a design build deal hardly, so.
There are some contractors that chase them, that's for sure.
Well, and once, I mean, that's part of the problem with that end of it is once you've got them in there and you get your change order, you're stuck. There's no going back and, I mean, you can argue about it, but there's no going back and redoing.
And then we remodeled the jail, I guess, in '95, '96, I don't remember what. We did it the same way.
Registration or?
Was the cells remodeled in '95, '96?
Only thing we did was changed all the locks on all the doors, is what we did. And then we did some other minor changes, but the big changes was moving a lot of electrical stuff out of there. Back in those days, the trustees had access to the power for that whole part of the courthouse. They did. No joke. Now, that was one of the
Trustee
toughest-
being the key word there.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
quite-
define trustee 5
Yeah.
years ago versus today though too.
Yeah.
I'm just using a technical term. But anyway, we moved that big three-phase panel in up into the 911 center. And that was quite an ordeal.
Well, it's food for thought for the commission
Yeah, absolutely.
as you guys go forward.
Yeah. Yep, and, you know, we'll visit about it, and I know, the lady from Inform said she'd try to have us some stuff, some preliminary stuff kind of back if she had more questions by Thursday this week, didn't she? So,
Good.
yep.
We'll also have to verify the legality of whether we can do that or not.
Right,
too.
right. See you, Rick. See you, Daniel.
Yeah, we'll have to verify that too.
Thanks, guy. See ya.
Bright in here all of a sudden.
Open your eyes, I guess.
Yeah, that's not the one that it's, unless I'm looking at. But that's, what's that?
Got a little break. We'll return this man.
142.
You got all kinds of time.
Now, you and I were both looking over here when we should have been looking
Ooh, what time they coming in? I can do that one.
Yeah, but yeah, it's over here, so we're good.
Okay. I did one the other day. D.L. Miller, is that his name?
Okay.
Yeah.
He came in Thursday, he was here and I said, you can sit in for the interview if you want. Guy's got all the experience in the world, I don't know if he could afford it.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and there's actually,
He was my 11 o'clock.
Today?
okay, that's what I heard say, there's two of them listed here, and whenever I looked.
No, I already did
That
him.
Unless he just wants to come back.
Well, you're on the same page. You're Jeffrey?
We're gonna have to get a different insurance. Health insurance. Did you hear what they did?
And the 1804.
My accident.
1804 Briarwood.
They paid what they was gonna pay and then they sent me the bill for $230,000. I'm not supposed to pay any more than $2,500 because I got to buy a. And they sent me a bill for it said it's out of network. It's all the same network. It's all Mercy.
You had to buy up, you should be able to use Mercy in Springfield.
Huh?
You had to buy up, you could use Mercy in Springfield.
That's what I did.
That's a clerical.
That's a
You're gonna have to
clerical.
get on the phone.
Yeah.
I've been on the phone.
Yeah.
I know.
And I still got a bill. It went up
None of them hardly framed anymore.
from 200,000 to 230,000 now.
I would say they didn't pay it right. Some of the
They said it's out of network and it's all Mercy. It's all Mercy.
John Lloyd.
You know, that's why I have insurance.
I
Because
agree with
you
you.
realize how long it'd take me to pay off $230,000?
And go
Well,
see
yeah.
him.
I mean, it does clerical.
So then,
'Cause you know.
then you get a
Make
bad
like
credit
work
reference and
bills.
everybody thinks that you don't pay your bills, you know?
Jimmy,
Yeah,
I'm
John
with you.
Lloyd.
I had
Been there,
something
done that.
similar 10 years ago with Arc Insurance, and you have to know your insurance better than people who are paying the claims.
So what I'm saying is, we need a
Yeah.
different insurance company.
I had it with the other insurance company, it's all,
It's all the same.
It's a clerical
just-
Well, the last time I used insurance, they paid everything. They paid everything. I didn't have to pay a penny. I've even got supplemental insurance of my own. I'm insurance to death. And yet, $230,000?
that was an expensive car crash.
That's aggravating.
That's almost as bad as expensive horse ride, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, almost.
And somebody got thrown off a horse 35 years ago and they still paid.
Don't make a good yard dart, huh?
Mm. Who's coming out today? Dean and he was.
Shauna.
Did you see the residential deal on those?
She didn't even come by, she called, so just give her that.
His
Oh,
wife works here.
oh, she called, she's up there and she called it in.
Department call and say that someone
Supposed
called
to be
about
interviewed.
this, someone let me know. Something about the Hillary type.
It's on the Facebook page. There's some people that understand that you can actually do such that they have to do.
Jimmy, who did run the helicopter for Buckhorn yesterday? You know?
I seen that yesterday,
I know what it
Sunday.
is.
So you didn't want everything.
I was going to church
I asked him.
Yeah.
Already
Sunday
over
night
Facebook.
and
It's all over
Okay.
Facebook.
helicopter was landing at
Yeah.
that time.
Stuff, and he goes,
I don't know what it was.
I don't either. They had somebody in the ambulance bringing them out and putting them on.
Must have been a heart attack or a stroke
Maybe,
or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
She's known me for years and years.
Because I didn't know of any wrecks.
Yeah, I didn't either.
On the other hand,
Yeah.
she saw a live blog that was full of.
Yeah, we had just got back.
I
I
was
said,
concerned that
Home.
maybe there was something wrong with me.
And yeah, it landed right
It
there.
looked okay to me.
Well, I
She
know
has some relatives
one of my
with
vehicles
seizures
was
and that's
doing
kind
the
of
traffic.
Yeah.
that
So I'll find
they're
out.
texting and Suddenly it
Yeah.
makes no sense.
I was gonna find out this morning, but I came straight over here.
Yeah.
Seizure.
That's what she was worried about.
So
No,
Bill
having a
comes
seizure.
up-
I'll find out, I'll let you know.
Okay.
No, I didn't, but I will go.
But I wondered that myself, and so did half the people at church.
Yeah.
What's going on? I don't know, I seen it myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't see anything bothering me.
Okay.
They have pretty-
Those are the only two?
but that
Yeah,
guy
they're
has so
office
much
in the town.
qualifications.
Yeah, but those are the only two, everything else is
He's more
good.
from
Yep.
Pulaski County. I don't know if you can hold him here.
Only thing I will tell you on him is, not that he's old by any means, but he's older and I think he just wants to, something, he's done a lot of stuff in the past before, wanting something to,
Mhm. Almost like he wants to settle down and do one thing.
Mhm.
I thought of that too.
yeah. That's my opinion anyway.
Carol, you're grinning for some reason. What are you up to? You can see it all over his face.
I have a reader who apparently thought I was having a seizure because I made some typos in the live blog and actually called the county offices to check on me to see if I was doing okay. That's what Whitney was over here for.
No, just tell him we're gonna leave you in the corner.
We'll prop him up there.
I was about to joke to
You
Sue.
use your tripod there to hold him up straight.
This is something.
We'll duct tape him dead, keep him straight up.
We were taught all kinds of things back in the 1980s about how to deal with readers back in journalism classes. Nobody ever taught anybody about how to deal with live blogs. You heard these stories about people on the radio or TV who had some horrible disaster happen on camera, but that's not something we were ever taught how to deal
True
with.
story to that. So now you look at Facebook since yesterday.
I didn't even see the live blog.
What's happening here? The person who called, like you may have overheard some
Yeah,
of
I
it.
got that
Oh,
She's a
okay.
very well.
Washington one, yeah.
So that's
She
everything you
happens.
Okay.
You're
Okay.
from a part of the country that has enough of a Jewish population that when I say a Jewish grandma, this fits the stereotype. And that's exactly what she is. She's a Jewish woman who joined the military.
Well, I'm glad somebody's got it. That's a big thing. I'm glad somebody's got it.
I
think she
think
got medical retirement,
Greg said
but
it's
she
been
had-
over there for
she got out
7
with
years. I said, well,
Gonna be a long
possession,
week.
9/10 of the law.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
I should have had a price, but the one over here from Kansas on the backside. That's supposed to smoke down here Saturday. Sunday I'm in the park for a
Did you
wedding.
hear the price of postage is going up?
This Wednesday-
And services going down?
Wednesday,
Yeah.
Saturday, Saturday.
Things that make you go,
Yeah. Well, if it's going up, why are you slowing down?
Yeah.
I bought bolts.
And they've got that Hut Pirates mini golf course is open now across from the Fudge Factory.
Uh-huh.
So, on days where it's a little bit nicer, you think you can send out a couple more guys that way just because there's not a crosswalk there yet.
Over at Louis?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, if we get time, we're so busy.
Yeah. I'm working on trying to get a crosswalk out there and, you know, how the traffic safety division is. And so they've suggested that in the meantime, to contact the sheriff's department
Yeah,
just for extra
when you're out
patrols.
there, just call us. And we'll try our best to get out there. You know, I can't guarantee we can get
Yeah.
right out there, but
Just maybe on nicer days, if you guys are going that way, have a presence just to kind of slow people down.
we go
'cause-
down through there all the time anyway.
Yeah, cool deal. I know a lot of the locals aren't gonna be used to people crossing the road there, and I just don't want something to happen, so.
I need to buy some.
Are we gonna do tables?
I actually got out halfway across the road the other day going over there, and the car was coming, and I started to kind of take off running, and that didn't work out so
And just
well.
put some signs or lights up there or something.
I forget the name of the traffic safety person that I'm working with, but
Might get some signs up there, at least signs
yeah.
to warn people.
When is it?
Next Tuesday.
Regular plus okay.
Hopefully someday there'll be a crosswalk there, the speed limit will be a little bit lower
Well,
through there. Because right now it's 45,
Yeah.
everybody books through there to 55 or
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah.
And a pedestrian at 55 miles an hour versus car, not
No
a good
chance.
option.
Double what you got sold.
Even 25 mile an hour.
For 150,
Yeah.
I use a clip for 175.
Look what happened to me at 25 mile an hour. Yeah. Not good.
It's not necessarily a featured speaker, we're just trying to get as many as we can. So, several state reps. Yeah.
Ricky coming.
I ran into Justin Brown the other day. Both eating at Made Right. Yeah.
I mean, he kinda has to eat there.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I still, that's probably my favorite place to.
Every time we were all
Raw
on
for lunch.
either there or
Yeah.
Friars.
Yeah.
I'll either eat one or the other.
Yeah.
One time I was supposed to meet, the girls working at Pryor said, hey, how about if we meet you halfway, we'll bring you pizza, you bring us ribs, I said, you're in. I went passing it up.
Yeah.
I met him halfway. I met him at the Jerome exit. We swapped and
That's where we had Grandpa's 90th birthday party. So he always liked Friars pizzas.
Where at?
Mhm.
I remember as a
Friars
kid,
Pizza.
my uncle lived up the street.
My wife.
Rolla.
And I always went down there as a kid and picked up his pizza.
Charles, there was some tree. Mom said, let's go to Brian.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get out of county road.
Yeah. Well, see, they had the furniture store in Rolla, and my grandma run it. So, if he'd call and say, you know, I want pizza or whatever, she'd pick up Friars while she was in Rolla and bring it home. And then when TK's went in up there, they rented them the building. So he started eating TK's because he was like that, you know, if he rented a place to you, he did business with you as well. And when China Buffet went in there, and I would go up there and he goes, that is I hate to, we're gonna have to go eat China Buffet today. So, you'd have to go stomach through it. I went into the old Sears store building the other day.
A hard no. Hungry
Yeah.
enough for the attorney. Hard no.
Yeah. Yeah, and they had that seafood place, farmer's market in there.
They say
That
those,
water is went under that vinyl floor or whatever and stuff in there. It smells like dead crawdads and dead shrimp or
I
whatever.
know Mac told me that when the sewer line was clogged, the condensation or some line was clogged.
Terrible.
they say those Chinese restaurants, if you see a bunch of cats outside, that's the place to eat.
Yeah.
It's when you don't see them.
Better be glad Daryl's talking.
My tape's up there, don't worry, I'm not ignoring you.
No,
Making it go for it.
Yeah.
he's live on TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
5 years, they wouldn't have buried
I'm
left.
saying nothing.
I guess there was a donkey that got out last weekend, Lakeway.
Yeah.
And was running up and down DP and AAA there.
They said they got him.
Yeah, they had it he was standing at the baseball field watching the baseball practice.
I'm gonna have to give my guys horses and ropes.
Yeah.
I had to go through an emergency service call over there, and the guy that drives the ladies softball, the bus driver, it's his house.
Yeah.
He had to take him to what's the one up there, North 17, north of Iberia, Tuscumbia.
Tuscumbia, yeah.
I started laughing. I think the last time I was at Tuscumbia's my boys baseball years ago. And when I pulled in there, there was a horse and a donkey out staked to the ground out there eating. And the grass was so high, and it had the old base pads that you put down the stakes on the sides of them to hold them flags. I said, good luck. Is it still down the river bottom? He goes, yeah, but they got it pretty fancy now.
I helped a friend of mine move the burro before they had reached over.
Oh, yeah.
We used to have donkeys get loose on the Z Highway all the time there by Trout Road.
It ain't gonna work. You ain't doing nothing with it.
All the time.
That's what they'll use them now to break them show calves with. They'll got a harness they put on them, and it's got a short lead, and they'll clip that calf to that donkey, and by God, they'll make them walk, and if they want to go the other way, they'll sew up there long enough till that calf gives in, and that's what they'll do to initial break them now.
You ain't gonna
is they
move
keep
that
them
donkey.
tied
That
up.
donkey don't wanna move it.
Yep.
He ain't moving.
I don't care.
I helped a friend of mine move one. I'll tell you what, it's all me and him to do that little bitty old thing, get it on the trailer.
I used to have a little one for the boys, and it drove a little 4-car, you know. And I mean, literally, that thing wasn't as tall as this table, but he was a cool little dude. Blake named him. I think I got him for him. He was about 4 then. He called him Uncle Sam. He called him.
They claim them donkeys are smarter than horses.
Yeah.
And that you could train them by your voice.
Well, a mule won't go into anything where it knows it will hurt itself, and a horse will jump off a cliff. But a mule won't. That's why, that's why they use them on the Grand Canyon and
Comes
stuff.
around cows. If there's a donkey out there around the cows and a coyote comes in, watch what happens. That donkey will kill that coyote.
Yep. That's what Jason told me. Ligon.
I was going to get a couple of them to put with my cattle. I thought I had a couple of those that had trouble with dogs.
You won't have trouble long.
No. You'll see some dead dogs.
You gotta be careful though, because if you get some of them that are mean, they'll kill a baby calf too.
That's what I've heard.
That case, I might have
They'll say to get the right ones. A friend of mine down at Ava's, he said he'd get me some. I wanted. He raised them. He said, Charlie, mine will do just exactly what you want them to do.
Until I got one. This is my luck. Well, that's a goal.
There's a family there in our community had some mares they had paid a literal fortune for and had them bred, and some dogs got into them colts and run those into the fence.
They are.
So she got a burrow and that stopped that.
They think they are.
Yeah, that
And
stopped it.
others are way stronger. When you know that it is you are the only person that can.
I've heard about guarding a cow while she's down. You kind of walk around her while she's down.
You find it somewhere. I've
No,
never
my buddy, I
been
was
in
in
that
his house
situation.
about a month ago. One of them had a calf, and his wife goes, he goes, help me with
I think a
tag
lot
this
of women don't
calf.
give themselves credit.
I started out the door, she goes, she hollered my name with her what she goes. That mama on that one there is the worst one of all. She will protect that calf, so be careful. I go, really? We got up there and went 4-wheelers to the fence, went through the gate. I stayed up the fence and she was about 100 yards down below that calf. He took the 4-wheeler with him. Next thing I know, they were doing the roundabout around the 4-wheeler. And he was trying to get that calf pinned down to tag that ear, and Mama wasn't having nothing to do with it. I told him, I said, hollered at him, just tell him you own the property, it's gonna do what you said. Next thing I know, Mama Cal flipped him over the four-wheeler, and I was, he goes, why'd you come down and help me? I said, why would I do that? I said, I already got informed about that, Cal. And I said, when I seen her throw you over the four-wheeler, I was laughing. I mean, she got underneath him, and she raised her head up, and he went flying.
I got some good friends. They live up South Kansas City somewhere, and they roll crop and have a pretty good sized cow herd. And last year they were driving out, and that cow just had a calf, and so he told his wife to sit there in the pickup, I'll take that baby. And that mama got him down. I mean, beat him up bad.
Yep. I've heard that many times before.
Beat him up bad.
Terry Baker he was separating, and one of the mamas wanted that baby, he shut that gate, and I guess he was still that far from the gate, Terry was. And that cow hit that gate and bowed that gate, put that gate into his forehead and knocked him out, lump cold on the ground. He was out plumb cold. They said he just buckled that gate like that. They said lucky he didn't knock the gate loose, because he'd have got through, he'd have probably stomped him.
Yeah.
She was mama.
J.W. Henson up there at Conway has a receiving station there for Joplin Regional Soccer. And I take her heads up there to drop them off. And I seen this herd of, really sharp young red cows. And I said, is somebody selling that? He said, yeah. I said, why would you sell